Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to my talk today, Rethinking Risk Response. Next is a quick overview of risk response. Then I have four strategies that you can take back to your work and implement Monday morning on how to optimize risk response. And last is the conclusion. I've also realized that there isn't a lot of alignment on the reasons we manage and respond to risk. And I'm hoping that both this white paper and my session helps with that alignment. If you're not familiar with the word conundrum, conundrum means a difficult or confusing problem or question. And I found that all frameworks have the same basic four options, which are avoid, accept, share transfer, and mitigate. But ISO 31000 adds a fifth one, which I thought was really interesting, and that is increase risk. And increased risk means you're strategically removing or modifying other response options. After you have the analysis complete, you move to the risk response process. You choose what to do with risk. From that, we're only going to cover four in this session today, the first four, and that is how risk response works together, aligning to your organization's risk tolerance, efficient risk mitigation, how to effectively transfer risk, and everything that's left over that you haven't mitigated, avoided, or transferred. I'm really don't take a lot of risk behind the wheel. None of those things operate in a vacuum. So I talked earlier that shifting colors around on your risk register is not the best way to optimize the allocation of resources. I don't want to take on so much risk that I end up dead, or I kill someone else, or I end up in jail. If I feel that risk is approaching that limit, I want to start implementing response options. And that's what capacity is. And continuing with this driving example, this analogy, even something as simple as that. So find 50%. I have a dot there. Find 50%. And this graph tells us that we have a 50% chance of losses exceeding 10 million or more with this risk. We can only tolerate about $12 million of risk at 50%. Get this graph down below our tolerance. And this is the big advantage that the loss exceedance curve has. It gives decision makers the ability to decide where on the curve they want to manage risk. So with those types of conversations, you can dive into investment strategies, return on investment analysis. Okay, so board members and executives should always be asking the season you're going to run one risk analysis that measures the baseline of current risk that is represented by the orange curve. These smaller or relatively smaller insurance companies insured these huge banks. So this was in 1992. There were 65 fatalities, $27.3 billion worth of damage in 1992 dollars. You can only do this with quantitative risk. You always want to make sure that your risk response is appropriate and it is tied to strategic objectives. So you want to periodically reassess risk for those things. I have the book here because I reference it, nearly every day. Please do let me know if you have any questions or comments.